Hello everyone, I'm Araxi Nasif and today I will be talking about Unit 2 cases. I've worked on Case 3 and Case 4 and I will be explaining today why I chose those cases and what are the correct answers for each case. So this is just my title page. Let's start with Case 3. So I will read it out loud and then I will go into explaining the answers. A 5-year-old boy is brought to the pediatrician's office for an annual visit. The mother reports he has been a the mother reports he has been a sticky infant and often appears drowsy. She also has concerns over her son's persistent thirst and frequent urination. Blood samples are taken for insulin measurements at time 0 and 1 hour after a glucose lowering test. The results of this testing are illustrated in the table below, as you all saw the table in case 3. But baseline blood samples 1 hour after glucose load patient control serum and insulin levels are at 0.86 plus minus to 2540 plus minus 11. What is this information likely to suggest about the underlying biochemical basis for the patient's symptoms? What would you predict the patient's fasted blood glucose levels to be given his current conditions? Example, above normal range, within the normal range, below the normal range. And list 2 regulatory enzymes that are likely to be active in this individual's current condition. So moving on to the reasoning. So according to the graph that we all saw in case 3, the lab report baseline blood samples of the child is 0.8, which is very less compared to the normal value, which is 6 plus minus 2. With 1 hour after the glucose load is given, her child is having serum insulin 5, which is very low compared to a normal range of 40 plus minus 11. So with these clinical features of increased thirst, which is known as polydipsia, and increased urination, which is polyuria, all these suggest that the child is having diabetes type 1. So now I'm going to go and explain further investigation. So to further investigate, we do fasting blood glucose test with oral glucose tolerance test. The child's glucose levels would be above normal range if that test was conducted. Various enzymes will be active in this hyperglycemic state. In glycolysis, the reaction is catalyzed by hexokinase, phosphofructose kinase, and pyruvate kinases are virtually irreversible. Hence, these enzymes would be expected to have regulatory as well as catalytic roles. And that is why the child is diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So moving on to case 4, I'm going to read it and I'm going to do the same thing. So, excuse me. A previously healthy 2-month-old female presents with jittery spells several hours after breastfeeding. Her mother reports she has not given the baby anything to eat other than breast milk since birth. The baby has only recently been sleeping for more than 2 hours between feedings, and that's when the mother reports these symptoms started. Laboratory results are consistent with hypoglycemia, which is low blood glucose, but are otherwise unremarkable. Epinephrine is administered and there is no increase in blood glucose, but there is an increase in blood lactate. So hint is giving, think of what pathways would be activated by this hormone. Physical exams reveals a liver edge 4 centimeters below the right costal margin. Percussion of the right chest and abdomen confirms hepatomegaly, which is the enlarged liver. Blood glucose levels increase after breastfeeding, but she cannot maintain the blood glucose levels within a normal range during fasting. Based on the information above, which of the following is the most likely diagnosis of this patient? So we're given hereditary fructose intolerance, galactosemia, glycogen storage disease, which is the inability to use glycogen, and the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. So I will explain first why I chose my answer that I chose, and then go on to why each other answer would be incorrect. So the baby seems to be suffering from choice C, which is the glycogen storage disease, and inability to use glycogen. So the symptoms of this is enlarged liver and kidney, low blood sugar level, high levels of lactate, fat, and uric acid in the blood, which is everything that the baby has shown. Other factors and symptoms include impaired growth and delayed puberty, increased mouth ulcers, and bone thinning. So the choice seems to be glycogen storage disease because these are all the symptoms of the disease that the baby is presenting. So now let's look at why the other choices are incorrect. So we have galactosemia, which is symptoms include loss of appetite and vomiting. The baby did not show these symptoms, therefore it cannot be galactosemia. Hereditary fructose intolerance, which the symptoms are nausea, vomiting, gas, abdominal pain, chronic fatigue, malabsorption of certain nutrients. Also, the baby is not showing any of these symptoms for hereditary fructose intolerance, so it cannot be that. And then the last, we have the GGPD deficiency, which include the dark urine, yellow skin and eyes, and pain in the abdomen and black. Also, the baby is not showing these symptoms, so therefore it is also not GGPD deficiency. The only correct answer for this would be the glycogen storage disease, because all the symptoms in fact do match with the symptoms that the baby was presented in the case. I hope this helps, and I hope you understand my explanation. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.